There's one thing I can respect about the modern gaming industry, is how they just don't give a fuck. As a long-time man who's given a fuck, I realized that in doing so, I was left to be fucked over. In light of the fact that Hawaii was trying to come up with legislation against loot boxes, South Korea's Fair Trade Commission was in the mix, Sweden, Belgium's Gaming Commission, didn't they just recently mark them as illegal? Or was that the Dutch gaming authorities? There are just so many countries cracking down on loot boxes, all because really it was EA. EA had the golden goose, and they decided to beat it to fucking death, hoping to dig some eggs out of its intestines or something. I mean, they literally screwed the pooch and destroyed the entire industry. I don't really care for the idea of the government being involved in gaming and adding legislation, because in doing so, I have a feeling it'll just lead us down the path of cigarettes and alcohol. Maybe more so cigarettes. There's like special taxes on cigarettes, and it sucks balls for anyone who smokes. I don't, so I don't really give a shit. But we're going down that road, and loot boxes are very similar to cigarettes. In the sense of right now, since nobody has ironclad proof that it's harmful, even though studies do say that there's indications that this leads to a gambling problem for some people, and it is highly addictive. But since it's not been hammered in everyone's skulls, it's still in that sort of free range area. And when you think about it, right now loot boxes are in their heyday. It's kind of like the 1920s and the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and 60s with cigarettes. Back then, cigarettes were good for you. They basically told you, if you wanted to protect your singing voice, you needed to smoke Lucky Strikes, you dumb bastard. More doctors smoke Camel cigarettes than any other cigarette. It means it's good for you, asshole. They frankly ran with it because the cigarette industry knew they could make money. And to hell with the harms and the possible outcomes later. By then you would have made your money. And we all know what happened there. Cigarettes went from being something women use to diet and lose weight to now something that gives you fucking cancer.
I'm married, and I used to be a smoker. I want to give you some tips about getting ready in the morning. Lord, you're there. Then your head redefined.
And my grandfather died of cancer, by the way. He was a Marlboro man. God, did he love Marlboros. And at the end, Marlboros did him a number. The motherfucker's laying there looking like a stick figure, still striking him up, still puffing away at that cancer stick. But then again, he grew up during the time when they told him smoking these cigarettes was great for his health. What a fuck, huh? And I think in time, a few years from now, maybe in a decade, maybe 2 decades, we'll see the ramifications of making loot boxes sort of like this okay thing right now. Sure, there are people upset with it, but they've got a lot of people championing loot boxes and telling you that, oh, it's fair trade, oh, it's capitalism, oh, it's not gambling because you always get something. It reminds me of those little toys that used to be in stores. You don't see them anymore, but back in the 80s and 90s, they were like these little machines that you put a quarter in and you spin, a little ball comes out with a toy. Granted, it wasn't gambling, but that shit was addictive. And I tried like hell to get as many quarters as I could to try and get the one figure I wanted. It didn't matter that I got something, because what you got wasn't what you fucking wanted. So it left you to just sort of keep going, because you're young and you figure it's okay. And that's the whole point of the whole thing. To make sure that you think it's okay, to normalize it, to rationalize it, and to take as much money from you as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if 20 years from now we start seeing crap where people are like, yeah, I'm a long-time gambler. I used to buy loot boxes when I was a kid, and it was okay then, but now I lost my house, my family, my wife. And then we'll have some sort of legislation that really hammers down on loot boxes, and everyone will go, wow, the early 21st century was ridiculous. They thought loot boxes were okay for people mentally. What a bunch of fucking cretins. Just like we now look at people for the 1920s who thought smoking Lucky Strikes was a great dieting plan, and you think, wow, you're a fucking idiot. You have to forgive me. I have a sore throat. I shouldn't even be doing this at all, honest to God. So basically, Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, you've probably seen him before on my thumbnails because the dude looks like a fucking supervillain from a comic book movie.
Has the cold, dead eyes of a killer.
He's so super villainy. He even has a very striking resemblance to the villain in Mirror's Edge 2, if I recall correctly, which is kind of ironic. He basically came out and told everybody, despite all this crap going on, that they're going to continue pushing forward with loot boxes. We're always thinking of our players, money, He didn't say the money part, but that's what he was thinking. We're always thinking about how to deliver these types of experiences in transparent, fun, and fair, balanced ways for our players. Yeah, because when I think about all the money I spent on loot boxes for Overwatch when it first came out, it always seemed fair. You spent $5 on skins you didn't want. What a win. EA is working with industry associations and regulators globally to supposedly iron out their ideas of loot boxes. I guess they're trying to get the lay of the land to figure out what they can and can't do, because it seems like Belgium has the strictest sort of regulations. You get hit with, what, 800,000 euros for a violation and possible jail time? Granted, I don't think Andrew Wilson would be the one losing the 800,000 euros, and I highly doubt he would be the one getting hit with jail time. But point being, EA is going to continue on. They don't give a shit, and loot boxes aren't going anywhere anytime soon until it becomes a major, major fallout. It's amazing. I look at this and I think to myself, wow, you know, after all this has happened, EA literally was the catalyst for all of the fallout for loot boxes. If they played it smarter, nobody'd be mad at loot boxes as they are now, but they were just completely too greedy. And now they're still going to say, we're going to keep going with this because the money's just too good, and frankly, that's what it boils down to. There is no way in hell EA is going to release a FIFA without microtransactions or loot boxes. There is no way in hell. They make way too much money to let it go. And there are too many people who are just fine with paying for everything. I mean, I'm playing Fortnite, admittedly. I played a match with one guy who said he spent $400 in the game. And I'm just like, holy shit, $400. $400? How? I remember when you bought the game, you got everything in the game. Now it's like you buy the game, and if you want a little something extra, things that would have been in the game already are now sold back to you. And it's just, I don't know what to say. Fuck, man, I can't. My throat can't handle all this. It's pretty much EA doing what they do best. Just saying, fuck you, we don't care. They have enough money to buy the best lawyers to get off if they were ever pulled in for, like, possible jail time. Nothing will come of any of this.